Bitcoin update starting on the 4-hour chart. We're going to look at volume and we're going to see what is next with this damn chop, right? We've been chopping sideways for quite a while now, all the way back since our move up here last Wednesday, right? It's been over a week now. So we're patiently waiting, or not so patiently waiting. When are we going to get a breakout and what do we want to watch for? I'm glad you asked. Well, you want to look for volume. Big volume spikes often come at the trend change or the start of a new trend. So let's go back and look at history here on the 4-hour, right? See this big move? Look at the volume, right? The massive volume spike. You do not need volume to continue a trend, but oftentimes the most important one to be watching for is a volume spike to confirm a breakout or not. So we'll show you a couple examples here, right? So this is our start of our volume spike, right? I mean, that's blatantly different than the previous volumes here, right? So and how do we know, like, we're going to talk about this one here in a minute, because I wonder if some of you are like, why the hell did we get the volume spike here? Well, I'll address that in a moment, but this one is key, right? This is what we're going to be watching for next. If we're going to get a fake out up like we've been doing, right? Fake out down, fake out up. How the hell can we get a leg up and know if it's going to be another fake out, more chop, or is it going to be real? Well, the real one comes with a big one and then is followed up usually with another of the same color, right? And usually also not going to be as big as the first one, but it's going to precede the previous mini, right? Look at the follow-up volume, right? After this one, you had not one, not two that preceded and were higher than the previous many days, right? So that's what you're looking for. Many candle sessions prior, confirming with volume, and that is a great indicator that you can be confident that move is a real one and likely going to continue in that direction. Now, what the hell happened here, right? Why did we get this big volume and we didn't reverse? Well, like we just said, you have to have context too. Where are you? Where did your candle close, right? We closed inside the Bollinger Bands. We closed above the 50 EMA, right on it, right? And then your next volume, your next candle, right? We almost recovered over half of this candle. And I would say we look at the rebound. You always want to look at the candle close as well. So you want to wait for the closing candle and not just see this big volume and start to panic one way or the other. And then you want to wait for the next candle to confirm, right? Which we didn't get that, right? If this would have been red, we could absolutely have melted down here, right? So you want to see just go back and look at the 4-hour for examples if you forget this, right? Or the daily, or this goes across all time frames, right? With volume. So this is what we're looking at now, right? Look at the volume, right? Anytime we break out, look at this, right? Is that a big, massive spike in volume? No, volume's increasing a little bit, but that's nothing to write home about. If this was a real move, right? This would be much higher. So this is what we're watching for now. If we get back up to like 30, 31K, 30, pressing fresh local highs here, even 31.2, 31.5, whatever the price is, right? Above 31K, you better see a giant green candle. If not, then the odds are, that's all you have in crypto or anything, any kind of chart you're reading is the odds. Nothing's for sure. But the odds would be that there would be just another fake out and just more chop, right? Just the wavy boats going around doing nothing, right? Now, however, if you see a green candle and we're at 31K or higher and it's higher than all of these candles, guess what? The odds are shifting that could be a potential true breakout. So once you start to see that on the 4-hour, then you can zoom out, right? And get a little bit bigger picture. Right, let's look at the daily chart, right? The move up, right? Nice volume, right? Look at the daily chart here, right? Look at the volume at the bottom. Look how high this volume was compared to the previous many days, many sessions, right? Not even close. Almost trumps the previous highest one by almost double. And look at the follow-up candle the next day again, right? Big, right? 1 and 2. You want to have those both. 1 is great, 2 is better. If you want that trend to continue, and that is your odds. Now, look how tight these Bollinger Bands are. You can't even see this other one. It's right tied with that 21-day EMA, which also has acted as support when tested previously last Friday, July 7th, right? We hit this. So a week ago, a little and changed, but when you watch this video, we tested this. Now, if we move up, what do we want to see, right? That volume needs to be coming up here. Now, I would argue that it doesn't necessarily need to be as big as these, but it needs to be bigger than the previous mini session. So I would say we're going to need to see this candle if we're, again, pressing 31K or higher, right? You'd want to see this green candle higher than, this mark here, right? I would argue that. If not, right, look at the previous moves, right? The previous move up, look at a couple days ago, right? We went to a high of over 31, but the volume is just kind of right there with these other guys, right? So big clues are written in volume, but let me reiterate this. If I didn't say it already, then it'd be the first time and not a reiteration. Volume is not needed to continue a trend. It's only really useful for signaling a reversal or a breakout of a trend, okay? So just we can continuously move up or down in price without rising or lowering volume. However, there's more in there, right? So maybe we need a volume lesson video and go more in depth in that. But I feel like that's for a little bit longer down the line when more people are here back on YouTube. I'd like to teach more people that. But volume can be very useful or unuseful when used correctly or incorrectly. So let's take that off now. All right, so a breakout is near, very likely a bigger move, right? The Bollinger Band's pinch indicating less volatility, right? Which less volatility leads to bigger volatility, right? Look how we pinched here. That's nothing compared to where we are now. So I think we're going to see some major move shortly. Maybe this week, right? The odds are this week, right? These usually do not stay pinched that long. And these are the tightest they have been since early January, if I'm not mistaken, right? Let's go look, right? Tighter than that, right? Tighter than that, for sure. Tighter than this. Nice move up there. Tighter than any previous moves, except for there, right? Look at January. So look at that. Let's just see what the volume looked like on that. Just a side note. I'm going to go with pretty big, right? Look at how big that volume was. Yeah, that is a trend change, right? And confirming that trend with many green candles and big green candles, right? So keep that in mind, right? The trend shifts that are real will have those big volumes behind it. Okay. Trend changes that are real will have those big volumes that stand out from the others, right? Previous several sessions. So we don't have it yet. If we start to move up above 31K, I feel like we're needed. 31, if you see us at like 31.5 or pressing local top, this will be especially true. So if you're still around, kudos to you. If you're still watching, especially if we're up here, right? If we're at 31.5 and the volume still looks like this, very likely another fake out, right? And just more chop is needed, or a fake out up and then we're going to nuke down, right? That is possible too. You always have to look at both sides of the coin, not just always bullish, not just always bearish, but the odds are with the bulls at this point, right? You're above the higher moving averages. You've made, you're in an uptrend all of 2023. You're holding, pretty high here off this move. You didn't give much of this back. The odds are with the bulls, okay? So the bears don't have much to stand on here, but they might have a bigger play and a bigger reason that we could come back down a little bit, back to 28, 29K, if we see a move up and there's no volume behind it. Okay, so a big warning there. And again, this will work the opposite way as well. If you see if we see us come down to like 30K, we start to breach 30, which we haven't done in a while, right? Right. I would argue that, roughly 30K is pretty much our daily support there, right? Many touches and holding, no closes. If we start to like press down here again and you see a red candle up higher than previous red candles, don't think that we're going to bounce there, right? Odds would be we're going to sink down a little bit lower, right? So again, wait for the volume, wait for the confirmation of volume just to see one, and then the next day green or the next day the opposite color, right? Likely just chop and more of the same. So hopefully that helps. If it did, let me know, right? I like to do things that you guys like and stop doing things that you guys don't like. So I know Bitcoin's kind of boring right now. I get it, right? But just another update I feel like is needed. I feel like volume, I don't talk about volume very much, but maybe I will going forward, do more teachings and kind of stuff like that. If you want more teachings on the regular, right, join our Patreon group, linked below. And I do a lot more content in there. We get a private Telegram group, and I'll hope to see you in there for this bull run. Now let's get to our crypto fear and greed index. We're at 57, where we have been. We haven't really moved much. Let's just scroll down, right? We're just more chop, doing not much, but there is something on the horizon here, right? We haven't seen in a minute. The altcoin season index. It's still Bitcoin season, but 20, right? I mean, we were at 4 not that long ago, right? We made a low. We made a high of 22. We made a higher low. We're on the verge of potentially making a higher high, and that's what we're waiting on to see altcoins really come back out of their shell. So if you refresh this, and this can change throughout the day even, it's blockchaincenter.net. If you don't have this, it's free. Just type in altcoin season index and you get this, right? Just check it all the time. If we make a higher than 22, right? That's our high, 22, right? You can see that. Made that June 19th. If we come back up here and start to break into this area or even higher than 22 here that we made, I would say altcoins are going to come out to play a little bit more, a little bit stronger. So until then, we have not done that, right? We could absolutely melt back down here. Bitcoin could have its time to shine even if it moves up or down, right? Bitcoin dominance doesn't care if prices are moving up or down. Bitcoin can drop in price and still the dominance rises, which would cause altcoins to bleed even further. Okay, so keep that in mind. We're close. Maybe tomorrow, maybe later today. If you see this index above 22, having some altcoins might start to get into your best interest. Okay, they might start to fizzle, bubble, pop. Okay, all right. So what's next? Back on track. Quote of the day: we first make our habits, and then our habits make us. Absolutely right. Car of the day: Lamborghini Diablo, over 20 years old, and some of them are 25 years old. Right, 25 years. Still looks, I mean, I would say this still looks fantastic. Very little dating on the outside, but the inside pretty dated, right? Hard to make that technology stick. But the outside still looks fantastic. And here's a kind of a side shot of the kind of the tuned version with the race wheels, bigger brakes and stuff like that. Looks fantastic. Look at the window, right? The windows don't go up and down. It's just, that's all you get. No AC, right? It's kind of the tuned race version, SVJ. Or the SV, I should say. SVJ wasn't around yet. But if this looks familiar to you and you're into movies at all, what movie was this from? You might, it's a comedy. You're like, what? What movie? What movie? Come on. You got to get this one. Who is it? You got it? Yeah, Dumb and Dumber, of course. Of course. Dumb and Dumber, Jim Carrey, Lloyd, where he finds the briefcase full of money and he writes the IOU for this one. $275,000. Better hang on to that one. That's a biggie. All right, I'll see you on the next one. Hopefully, you laughed a little bit. If you haven't seen Dumb and Dumber, I mean, we can't be friends. So unsubscribe now.